wanted a notice of. Okay, notice went out, and so let's see. Okay, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava. Let's see, bad video, very bad audio.
The video's fine on Facebook.
Very bad audio. It's not going to work. Okay, anyway, so we'll see everybody tomorrow. We're in a car on the way to a program in Orlando, Florida. And the program in Orlando, Florida is not Disney World. So, in any case, I'm not going to be able to get online. So we want to ask everyone for their forgiveness and be online tomorrow. Yesterday we had an ecstatic initiation here in Orlando. Initiation. And if you want to watch it, it's on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, bkgoswami. So sorry for that. We have 20 people online. Yeah, sorry. That's where I wanted to take the time, but all of you had a better idea. So anyway, so I guess that's it. How many minutes to the next place? Oh, 5 minutes. 5 minutes, we're there. So let me get. So maybe we'll do the class. Hold on a second. This Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, and the sound's not going to be so good. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janaballabha Girivardhari Gopi Janaballabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Banachari Yamunatira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhova Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhova Kunja Vihari Gopi Janamallabha Girivardhari Gopi Janamallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Banachari Yamunatira Banachari Jaya Radha So Jai Vishnu Shri Shrimad His Divine Grace Abhaya Chalana Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrind Ki Jai Namacharya Shilahita Sthaku Vijay. Say Gaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Vijay. Sri Sri Radhakrishna Gopinath Sai Mukunda. Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Kijai Vrindavanam Kijai Maturam Kijai Jagannath Swami Kijai Munamai Kijai Shimati Lasta Devi Kijai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Kijai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastai Bhutale. Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swamini Jinamani Namaste Saraswati Deve. Gauravani Pachami Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deja Attorneys. So what we're going to do, since we're just going into a home program right now, and we haven't arrived there, we're going to allow you all to ask your questions now before the class. So we won't do the regular reading. It'll be the home program. So does anybody have any questions? You can unmute yourself. You can type in the text window, or you can raise your hand. So someone ask a question because we're almost at the house.
I have a question.
Sorry. Okay, Brajalila, you have a question?
Yeah, please accept my obeisances. So you were talking about how you will realize the spiritual master is his form is like in relation to yours, their form. How would you know their like actual true form if you're just realizing it in relationship to you and yours?
Oh, in other words, I didn't say the spiritual master's form is similar. I'd say that when one is situated in a particular rasa, when one sees the spiritual master as being situated in that same rasa, one doesn't necessarily see the spiritual master's spiritual form. So, for example, if someone is, this is a very advanced stage in devotional service, if someone has actually realized their spiritual nature, at least on the regular platform, then they'll actually view the spiritual master as also being on that same rasa, conjugal rasa, or parental rasa, or friendship rasa.
Right. So how but that's not actually what necessarily what their rasa is though, right?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily, but the spiritual master is engaging the disciple in any of the rasas. So
Right.
the spiritual master Krishna acts through the guru to manifest the instruction on that particular, dealing with that particular relationship. So that's why one perceives like that. No, but it's not necessarily true that the spiritual masters all these different rasas. That'd be kind of funny if the spiritual master also was a coward boy and a gopi. Be kind of rust of buzz there. And you'll see this in the pastime of Vijay Kumar and Rajanath dealing with Janachandra Goswami, that they're both seeing him in different ways because they're getting instruction from him in different rasas. Because Vijay Kumar is in the conjugal ras, and we have Rajanath, who's a coward boy, and here we are. So let's see if they have a big kirtan for me.
Thank you.
Okay, so everybody, we're arriving here, and so we'll give you, I guess this will be like a virtual reality experience of a program of the kind. Uh-oh, you took a phone away. Hey, you took your phone. Don't go too far with the phone. Okay, because I got to stay online with all these nice people. All right, let me give another camera. There's everybody. See? All right. Oh God, what I do for Krishna, what I tolerate.
This is a real lesson for me.
Yes, a lesson when I say get ready, people have to get. All right. Okay. So this is Brajendra. This is Brajendra Kumar. We're online right now. See, nice devotee just took initiation. That's right. Radhika Rupa. That's our soccer instruction. Oscar.
Sorry, that's just habit.
Haribol. Okay. Haribol. Haribol. Jai. Haribol. Haribol. We're all online, so I got to warn. Don't do anything wrong because we're all online. Whoops. Just stay close with me with the internet. Okay. Say hello.
Hare Krishna.
Say hello. Radhika Rupa. Okay. 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 See, we get flowers from our enthusiastic new disciple, Radhika Rupa. Where's the puja room is in there. Okay, then we enter, go to the puja room. There's the puja room. We offer obeisances. All right. And this is their altar. Okay. Actually, this is probably better for people that can watch this and appreciate. Whoops. Do want to do that? Let's see. Hold on a second. Let me just mute everybody. Okay. And here we are. And then, very nice. Let's go to where we're going to do the program. Oh, someone will have to get my guitar out of the house, out of the car. She needs the key or something. She has the key. Okay. Okay. Haribol. Yeah, you got everything here. That's good. All right. Just put it over there. All right. Yeah. Well, don't turn your phone off yet. What's your Wi-Fi address?
There should be Krishna Kunj guest.
I do not see it.
It's not, there should be Krishna Kunj.
Oh, I see it. Krishna Kunj guest.
Yeah.
What's the password? Whichever.
Haribol with the capital H. Yeah.
We are still here. That's pretty good. Okay. Haribol. Whoops. Okay, we are still here. Sorry, everybody. So now we're getting ready for this program. What are you gonna do? Put me on the screen?
Without any sound.
Okay, I don't put the sound on. Haribol. There's actually a delay, so it'll be very confusing.
Okay, then I'll stop it.
Yeah, it's better you stop it because it's very confusing. All right, why don't we have a kirtan first? All right. All right. So we're gonna have a kirtan and then we'll have questions and answers. That's it? No one else is coming? We're missing Bhaja Govinda. Oh, okay. Let's have a kirtan, but no cartels. Guitar, cartels don't go well with the guitar. Let me just. Namaho Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Mutale Bhakti Bhakti Vedantana Samini Dinamine Chaitanya a little bit or take questions. This is about it as far as everyone coming, or what?
There's one more family coming.
What?
One more family of 4.
One more family, that's it.
And then 2 sons and sister.
Then what?
Those were the only. Yeah.
That's it, okay.
So 6 people.
Small program.
6.
6 more people. When are they coming?
I'm not sure.
Jaya Radhamadova Jaya Kunya Vihari Jaya Radhamadova Jaya Kunya Vihari Jaya Radhamadova Jaya Kunya Vihari Vijana Ballabha Girivaradhare Girivaradhare Vijana Ballabha Vijana Ballabha of Teta, Satashi Shimad, His Divine Grace, Abhaya Chalananda Bhaktivedanta Goswami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananda Koti Vaishnav Vrind Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shiva Siddhi Gaur Bhakti Vrind Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Sayam Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Gaur Vridam Ki Jai, Vrindavan Ki Jai, Mathuranam Ki Jai, Jagannath Swami Ki Jai, Yamuna Mai Ki Jai, Shrimati Tulasi Devi Ki Jai, Samavedak Bhakta Vrind Ki Jai, Gaur Premananda, Hari Hari Bol. All glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pacharni Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deja Tarani. So we're at Brajendra Kumar's house. So Krishna Keshav is watching right now. I can see him. And so he's able to see you, not see you, he's able to see me. But we're actually at Brajendra Kumar's house, your old friend, Lord Brahma. So what we're going to do is take some questions and answer what's... Oh, Haribol. So many of these devotees may have questions, since some of you took initiation yesterday, and some people may have questions about the future. So first of all, I'm going to take a question online, because we got a lot of people watching online right now. 25 people. There's more people online than people here. So one of the questions online, is a very interesting question, is help me understand, is Lord Shiva God or demigod? Is Lord Vishnu and Lord Krishna, are they the same? If not, then who is supreme? Good question. So, as far as the answer to that question, so Om Ganat Mirandasha, Gananjana Shlakya Chakshur Unmeditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, the answer to that question is, first of all, Lord Shiva is considered a demigod, but he's not in the same category as the other demigods. The other demigods are what we call Jiva Tattva persons. Now that's an interesting category. Tattva means like a category. And so that means we're Jiva Tattva in that same category. Our type of soul, let's say, is Jiva Tattva. The body is not Jiva Tattva. But the soul is Jiva Tattva. It's an individual soul, part and parcel of Krishna. So that's Jiva Tattva. And so Lord Shiva is not Jiva Tattva. Lord Brahma is Jiva Tattva. Lord Indra is Jiva Tattva. Lord Vayu. All these different demigods, they're all Jiva Tattva. And they're all positions rather than persons. In other words, they're persons who took a particular position. Does everyone understand that? Let's say if any of you wanted to become Indra, you're a person, you could become Indra. You could become Lord Brahma. You could become any of these demigods. Vayu. But you can't become Lord Shiva, and also you can't become Durga. Because these two personalities, although they are demigods, are not in the same category as you or me, and they're not in the same category as Krishna. That's interesting, isn't it? They're not in the same category. So they're in a specific category. Okay. Lord Shiva's category is a category that only he belongs to. It's called Shiva Tattva. No one else belongs to that particular category. Lord Shiva is an expansion of Krishna, but an expansion of Krishna who deals with the material energy. And Durga is an expansion of Krishna's spiritual energy, who is the material energy. So Durga is called Shakti Tattva, the technical explanation. Shakti means the energy of the Lord. She's of a special category. Just like Radharani is Shakti Tattva in that same category. Whereas Lord Shiva is not Shakti Tattva. He's not Vishnu Tattva, that's not God. And he's not Jiva Tattva like ourselves. So he's in a special category of his own. And the example used in the Brahma Samhita is, let's say you take some milk and you turn the milk into what? Does anyone know? Yogurt. And when you turn the milk into yogurt, it's different than the milk, but you can't go the other direction. Nobody that I know of has ever been able to make milk from yogurt. Can you churn the yogurt and get milk? But you can churn the milk or churn the butter. Milk, actually buttermilk or whatever. And then you get yogurt. So it's a transformation. So Krishna expands himself in a specific way, and Lord Shiva is the best of the devotees. So that's the answer to the first question. The second question was raised here. Is Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna the supreme or the same? And there they are, the same persons. And they're both supreme, they're both the supreme personality of God. So how is that possible? Not that they are, we don't believe in two gods, three gods, many gods. We believe in one God. But God, but that's a generic name. But the supreme personality of Godhead can act differently in different circumstances simultaneously. Does everybody understand that? Just like you and I can only do one thing at one time in one place. Like right now I am not in North Carolina. I am here, somehow or other here. Maybe I'm not here. Anyway, somehow or other, the body is here, my consciousness is here right now in this place, right? And so I'm not in North Carolina. I'm not in India. Of course, hopefully I'd be in Vrindavan in my mind. But I'm not in any of these, but I can only be in one place at one time. I'm not so good at multitasking. Does everybody know what multitasking is? Multitasking means doing two things at one time. In other words, playing the guitar. How do you guys know? At the same time giving a lecture. At the same time eating prasadam. Can I do it? I don't know. Maybe. Hare Krishna is the prasadam. Okay. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. Anyway, you get the idea. I can't do all three things at once. I can't do two things at once. And even people who try to multitask, what they're doing is something called time dividing. I'll give you a practical example. When my mother was alive, I tried to multitask. Why or how? Because I'd be speaking to her on the phone, and it just bored me to tears to talk to her on the phone. Because she would always be saying, what are you doing? Same question. What are you doing? Why don't you go to college? Why don't you become an engineer, a doctor? And here I am, like, oh my God. Seen it, been there, done it. And so I thought, well, at the same time, I'm talking to my mother on the phone. I can read Prabhupada's books. Do something practical for Krishna. So I picked up the Bhagavad Gita. Yayatam ham prabhajante tam sataiva bhajami ham amavartmana bhartante manushapartha sarvasha. So I was reading Prabhupada's books. But my mother noticed that there was a delay when she would say something. Because I'd have this set response. Yes, Mom, you're right, Mom. Yes, Mom, you're right, Mom. Yes, Mom, you're right. But still there was a delay. She'd say something, are you listening to me? Then 2 or 3 seconds later, oh yes, Mom, I'm listening to you. So that's the problem with multitasking, is you're not actually multitasking. I mean, sometimes ladies can multitask better than men, seemingly multitask. Like they could be ironing their clothes, cooking the dinner, talking to someone on the phone. What else? You know, but it seems like that, but they're actually dividing their time up. Because the human being is not capable of keeping something like, I think it's like 10 or even less things in their mind at one time. There's actually a limitation. I mean, just like right now. Okay, I'll give you an example. Right now, we're sitting here in this room. How many of you are aware of the sound of the refrigerator in the background? You just became aware when I mentioned it, right?
Yes.
But you weren't aware of it before. Now, if you think about it, there's the sound of the refrigerator. I hear it clearly, but I didn't hear it before. Why? Because the same sound vibration was going in my ears, but I can't be aware of too many things at one time. Right? I mean, that's why I can't multitask, and you all can't either. But Krishna can multitask, and not only multitask, he could be multi-location, and he could be multi-personalities, and he could be multi-universes, and he could be multi. Just like we were coming here in the car, and sometimes Dwight Pine is picking up his phone, and he's trying to, of course, fortunately he has a car that drives itself, so it's not really multitasking, it's just the appearance of multitasking. So then I start to get nervous when the driver picks up the phone because he starts to text or something on the phone. So, anyway, the point is that Krishna can do many things simultaneously, and Krishna as Lord Vishnu is doing a whole bunch of things that Krishna is not doing, but Krishna is actually, and Lord Vishnu are the same person, just in a different mood, doing something different simultaneously. For example, Krishna can even do that in the same location, same geographical location. Like you have Krishna and Balaram, who are both in sometimes the same location, and they're having an argument, a difference of opinion with each other. Like when Balaram wanted to marry Subhadra with Duryodhana, and Krishna wanted to marry Subhadra with Arjuna. So here, the same person, Advaita Chuta Nadir Ananta Rupa Madhyam Puranam Purusham Naviyovanam Cha, the same person, but actually with a difference of opinion. In the material world, that would be called a split personality. Or technical terms, if you study psychology, it would be called MPD, which is multiple personality disorder. I mean, I've seen people with multiple personality disorders. In the beginning days of our temple in North Carolina, we had someone like that, and she was very nice. And she did a lot of different, but only one thing at one time. She only had one personality at a time, not two different personalities at one time. So, anyway, so Krishna is like that. And so, is there a difference between Krishna and Vishnu? No. But there's a difference in expression. The example that Srila Prabhupada gave is that a man may be at the office performing certain official duties in the office, and then when he gets home, he has his close family relationships, right? And he's the same person, but he has different relationships in different locales. And one locale, home, is actually much more intimate or close relationship than he would have in the office. I mean, he doesn't go up, hopefully he doesn't go up to his secretary in the office and embrace her. For example, so Krishna, when he goes to Dwarka, he doesn't have any, well actually in Mathura he has a girlfriend, but in Dwarka he doesn't have any girlfriends. Mathura was Kubja. That was before Krishna was married. We'll cut him some slack, as they say. So, but anyway, the relationships are not so intimate in Mathura or in Dwarka. Okay, So, let's see if we have another question online. No, that's the. Any other questions online? Well, actually, there's another. Hold on, there's another message down there. Hari Bol Gurudev. Are eternally. This is from Divine. Hari Bol Gurudev. Please say, my humble obeisance, are eternally liberated souls predestined or chosen to be such by Krishna? No, they chose to be that way. Actually, there's two types of eternally liberated souls. One type of soul is Krishna's energy, the Shaktis, and that's their nature. They don't make choices to separate from Krishna. They don't. It's not that they're forced, it's just not their nature to choose to be separate from Krishna, like Radharani and the gopis and the cowherd boys, like Subal and Sudam, Yashodamai and Nanda Maharaj. I mean, their very nature is, well, that's why they're called Ragatmaka devotees. That's an interesting term. Ragatmaka, that means the rag, the emotion, the love, the intensity is all there, in their soul, it's always connected with Krishna. They don't choose anything else. And then there's another type of eternally liberated souls, which are called Nityasiddha Jiva souls, who choose, they have the opportunity to choose to be separated, but they choose not to be separated from Krishna. So they never make the wrong choice. I mean, just like you see people, like sometimes the children grow up and some of them choose and make the wrong choices in life, and some of them are nice their whole lives, isn't it? Isn't that two types of children who grow up? Some of them go off the beaten track and eventually come back, and some of them never go off. They're always just so obedient to their parents. Like Gopi Baba's like that. She's like a Nityasiddha daughter to her parents. And I am like a Nityabada son to my parents. It's an interesting comparison, isn't it? But anyway, it's easy to understand that way. Some children never become naughty. And other children by nature are naughty. Not by nature, but they choose. You can't say it's their nature, because that would actually take away the free will of the living entity. To say by nature, I'm a rascal. Everyone's responsible for their actions. Good questions. All right. Anyone? Let's see. Yep. Oh, there's another question here. Prema Sundari. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. I have my family watching online, and my son has a question. If Krishna and Vishnu are the same, then why does ISKCON pray to Krishna? Very good question. Let's see, someone asked a question to me before. Okay. What?
How old is her son?
How old is your son? It's a good question, actually.
That's a good question.
Why does ISKCON pray to Krishna? We actually also pray to Lord Vishnu, but primarily to Krishna. The reason is that Krishna is the most adorable. Like if you have two... Oh my God, I shouldn't do that. If you have two little children, and one is... I'm not saying one is ugly, because Vishnu is very attractive too. But if you have... Or let's say, I hate to use this example. Let's say you have a beauty contest. Like who's the one who gets the most attention? The one who wins the beauty contest. What an example. Or let's say in a soccer match, you like this one. Who's the one who gets all the praise? The winners, right? So Krishna and Vishnu are both the same person, but Krishna is much more attractive because he has much more attractive features than Vishnu does. And specifically, there's 4 features that Krishna has that Lord Vishnu doesn't have. And those 4 are, do you know them? Gopi Baba, do you know?
He's all attractive.
Yeah, he's most attractive, yeah.
He's most wealthy.
No, those are the Bhagwan features.
Oh,
There's 4 features according to Nectar of Devotion. One is he plays the flute. Another one, he has unexcelled beauty. Another one, he has intimate devotees. And the other one, he has these amazing intimate pastimes. That's from Nectar of Devotion. That's from Nectar of Devotion. So Krishna has all this. In fact, Lord Vishnu sometimes, who is Krishna too, I mean, they're both the same person. He's 15 years old. So Lord Vishnu actually wants to see Krishna sometimes, so he makes a trick. There's a story in the Krishna book where Lord Vishnu actually steals a Brahman's sons so that Krishna will come and try to rescue the Brahman's sons to save Arjuna's life. There's a whole story there in the 10th canto of Bhagavatam. So basically, because Krishna is the most attractive, his most attractive features. Or here's another example. Oh my God. I don't know if this is a terrible example. Just like if you were to see a picture of me when I was a baby and a picture of me now, and you were asked who is the cutest, who would you want to pinch the cheek of? Then it wouldn't be me. No, it would be me as a baby. I think of these weird examples all the time. It's definitely weird. But I'm the same person. But it's not that Krishna's old, or, it's not that Lord Vishnu's old, or Lord Vishnu's unattractive. He's infinitely attractive. But Krishna is infinitely more attractive than Vishnu. And because specifically these qualities, Vishnu never plays a flute. I mean, he may be a good musician, but he doesn't play a flute. And Lord Vishnu doesn't have really intimate pastimes. I mean, for example, if you're going to read a novel, here's another example. This one's not so controversial. If you're going to read a book, you want to read a book about, like very close relationships that people have with each other. You don't really want to read a book about just everyone saluting everyone else, saluting the President of the United States or something, especially if he happens to be the past president. But you don't want to, it's just an official thing. You want to read about people's relationships and, people romance and all that other stuff, which is much more interesting than reading about God creating the universe. I mean, the thing about Lord Vishnu is, it's interesting. I mean, the creation is very interesting. Like how Lord Vishnu, the Mahavishnu, whoops, I better turn that off. You'll keep trying to text me. The Mahavishnu, he breathes out and all the universes are created. I mean, it's interesting, but it's much more interesting to hear about Krishna dancing with the gopis, or killing the demons, or playing with the coward boys, and in Vrindavan. It's much more interesting, isn't it? So that's why we pray to Krishna. And we also pray to Lord Vishnu, too. I mean, just like when we say Prabhupada's Pranam Mantra, we mention the name of Lord Vishnu. Om, isn't it? Nama Om Vishnu Padaya. Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swamini Dinamani. It's interesting, there's a whole hierarchy. Nama Om, word Om from the Vedic literature. Vishnu, Nama Om Vishnu Pradaya. Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swamini Dinamani. Actually, there was something interesting I wanted to mention about the fire sacrifice. I thought it was really interesting that when Prabhupada was on the planet, This is actually a detail of Siddhanta. It's a very fine detail. When Prabhupada was on the planet, he would never put the word Om before the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. It's actually Rasabhas. So, but I noticed when, after Prabhupada left, the devotees following, certain procedures of fireside device, they started putting Om, like Om Hare Krishna, isn't it? It's actually Rasabhas. Because the Hare Krishna mantra stands on its own. It doesn't need, it's like a standard Vedic mantra, always needs an Om in front of it. Like of course none of you are familiar with the Gayatri mantra, but it starts with Om. The Vedic mantras always are preceded with Om. Om Tad Vishnu, this is not a Gayatri mantra, this is a standard one. Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Pada Pasanti Yat Surya, which means basically all the demigods are looking to Vishnu. So the Hare Krishna mantra doesn't need that sort of seed mantra in front of it. It's a seed mantra. Om is Om. There's certain seed mantras. This is a little technical probably for all of you. There's certain seed mantras in the Vedic literature. Seed mantras means the mantra that actually centers you on the purpose of life or on spirituality. Om is one of them, Kliyam is another one, Aim is another one. These are all seed mantras. And the Hare Krishna mantra doesn't require a seed mantra, nor does the Panchatattva Maha Mantra.
I never heard of this using all the
Yeah, it's actually Rasabhas. I should mention that to some of the devotees. It's just,
It sounds uncomfortable.
yeah, it's a very uncomfortable thing because the Hare Krishna mantra stands on its own. It doesn't need a seed mantra to introduce, but it's a fine philosophical point. Yeah, it's an important philosophical point that you don't really need anything to introduce the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. There's another question here. Okay, we got a lot of questions. People in the audience don't get a question. Okay. Oh, divine.
Rudy, do you need any water?
No, yeah, a little water. So. And that's all right. I just took a lot of water. Okay, question. Here we go. Why prayers to Tulsi Devi say Vishnu Bhakti? Some devotees change it to Krishna Bhakti. Is Tulsi prayed to marry? Is it because Tulsi prayed to marry Narayan, even though in the spiritual world she's with Krishna? That's actually a good question. And that's asked by Tulsi Devi's namesake, who's also named Tulsi. She's an older devotee, real old. So, anyway, the reason for that is that in this particular context, the word Vishnu refers to the category of Vishnu Tattva.
Should put it here.
Oh, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to drink right now anyway, because I actually had a lot of soup and had plenty of liquids. The word Vishnu in this particular chant refers to the Vishnu category. Vishnu category means the God category, basically. And Krishna is Vishnu Tattva, or Vishnu is Vishnu Tattva. It's a category. Tattva means like a category or something that is, like an eternal category. Krishna is Vishnu Tattva, Lord Nrsimhadev is Vishnu Tattva, Kurma is Vishnu Tattva, all the various incarnations, except for the ones that are empowered incarnations, are Vishnu Tattva, which means they're all the same person, acting in different guises. So when the Tulsi prayer you say Vishnu Tattva Pradeva Devi Satyavachari Namo Namaha, that's in reference to all the various incarnations of Krishna, and specifically Krishna. So another thing to change it to Krishna Bhakti means that even though philosophically it's correct, and according to Ras, it's correct, but according to the Parampara, it's not correct. You understand? There's several different considerations. What happened to Dvaipayana?
He's in the prayer.
He's where?
Maharaj is
He's in the deity room.
Deity room, worshipping the deities. Probably had a rounds to chant or something. So anyway, let's talk about these different categories. It's a little technical. Okay, we miss you. You have rounds to chant, or how many rounds do you have left?
Almost 3, so 10.
You better go back in the deity room. So let's go into the question. It's really interesting. So there's different angles of vision when you examine a particular prayer. One is from the position of what we call ras, the taste. Is it correct according to the taste? And the question is yes, Krishna Bhakti is correct according to the taste. And there's another question, is it tattva? Is it correct according to basically philosophical understanding? Yes, it's correct according to philosophical understanding. Then there's the question of parampara. Is it actually the mantra that was given to us in disciplic succession? And then the answer is no. Because you can actually, for example, I'll give you an example in the Bhagavatam. There's a very interesting verse. Tate no kampam susham ikshvana punjani vatma kritam vipakam ridvag bhurvir vedadam namaste jiveta yo mukti pade siddhayabhak. Which is, I'll translate it, which is that when a devotee tolerates all the unfortunate things that happen to him throughout life, and he sees them all as basically just token reactions for his past activities, and he goes on serving Krishna with his heart and his body and his words, then he becomes a fit recipient for pure devotional service. Famous verse, actually. So there was one devotee, his name was Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. When he heard this verse, the word for pure devotional service in this verse is mukti pade, which basically the word mukti generally means liberation. It doesn't mean Krishna consciousness. So this devotee, he changed the word in the Bhagavatam, and he changed it to bhakti pade, right? I think some of you may know this. No, I think Krishna Priya knows it. He changed it to bhakti instead of mukti. And Lord Chaitanya appreciated the sentiment, but he said you can't do that. You can't change the words of the scriptures. Just because they're correct, you can't change the words. It's like Prabhupada, or let's say Prabhupada's books, that you may actually correct or make a correct statement by changing something in Prabhupada's books. And the correct statement may be philosophically right on, but it's not the proper thing. It's like jumping over Prabhupada's head. So the mantra, Vishnu Bhakti Pade Devi, was given by Prabhupada. So that's like from the Sampradaya. So that's, I always chant it like that. Although when other devotees do it, I don't get on their case.
Isn't it like just their own particular internal thing, like, oh, Krishna, I want shelter.
That's fine, but when doing an official mantra, you can't change it. It's actually called Maryada Purushottam, which means violating like spiritual etiquette.
Right.
So you really, it's something specifically given by Prabhupada. For example, I can make up a pranam mantra from Prabhupada and say that instead of Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvadi Pacharni Nivasesha Shunyavadi, and maybe philosophically correct my own mood and devotional service. But if I do it in place of the other one,
Right.
then it's something Prabhupada gave. Like that. So, and there's many things Prabhupada gave that they're his particular mood in devotional service. So as far as our official procedures in Krishna consciousness, we stick with Prabhupada. That's the chastity of a disciple or a follower of Prabhupada. I think that's a really important point. Prabhupada specifically gave that mantra. And there's also the statement that Sampradaya Vinaya Mantras Te Nishpalat Mataha, that if one chants a mantra that hasn't been given disciplic succession, it won't be effective. So, I'm sure people have the right mood and everything like that. It's not, that's why I don't interfere. If someone says it, it's not, I have bigger things to worry about than that. If I got it at everybody's case because of all the details, I wouldn't have any friends. So instead, I decide to have friends and overlook certain things. But technically, it's also like the Om Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. It's just not, there's something, that's even philosophically wrong.
Yeah, that's philosophical.
That's an song, right? Oh, Hare Krishna.
No, but you see that it's done, just about every fire sacrifice nowadays, they do that. And it's not right. It's not right. It's not poetic, and it's not according to the Rus, it's not according to the Tattva, it's not according to anything to do it like that. If, in a Vedic mantra, you always put Om. That's natural. Like you wouldn't do it with the Panchatattva mantra. You wouldn't say, Om Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Is that Om? What's Om have to do with Lord Chaitanya? And what does Om have to do with Krishna? So you have a question?
Yeah, so I was wondering if there are times where like Lila Tattva and the Parampara disagree with each other, but we've chosen only one of the directions.
Yeah, the Leela Tattva, that's interesting. And I'm trying to think of an instance where there would be a disagreement. One's personal, sometimes there's parampara and then one's personal taste may be different than, it's not that we're all robots or anything, or artificial intelligence people. That our personal taste may be, let's say, all right, here's an example. There was once a devotee, his name was Hriday Chaitanya. And Hriday Chaitanya is a coward boy in Krishna Leela. And his guru was also a coward boy, Gauridas Pandit. So he had a disciple whose original name was Dukhi Krishnadas. Okay? And Dukhi Krishnadas later on became known as Shaimanandi. Maybe you know this story. Because, anyway, he discovered an anklet that was owned by Radharani, that was in a kunja in Vrindavan. And so he sort of changed Radharani changed his name. Of course, there's priorities too, like Prabhupada gave me the name Veer Krishna Goswami, and Radharani would come and say, no, your name is, instead of beer, so wine Krishna. or anyway, some other alcoholic beverage. But anyway, my examples are just horrible. Anyway, so if someone if Radharani came and she gave me some other name, and I went around with that name, then it'd be interesting. Anyway, it'd be really interesting. So anyway, so that's really what happened. That's what happened with Dukhi Krishnadas. He got a different name. Rishikesh got off all right?
Yes.
That's good. That was a little drama there.
Yeah.
A lot of drama. And he was
We had to go to the store. There was no battery, so we had to change.
no battery in the car or what?
No,
The remote control.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I found the keys.
He must have been nervous.
No, he was not.
He's cool.
But it was before time he reached. Like
Okay, good.
same time, 2 hours away.
So let's get back to the story. So Shaimananda is an interesting story. Was Duki Krishnadas got a name. He got his name. Let Shraddhanjali sit on the chair.
We can do it here, I can just jump on here.
Shaimananda got his name directly from Radharani and Lalita. And so when his guru heard about it, his guru got really angry with him. And his guru, first of all, his guru sent people. His guru was in Bengal, and he was in Vrindavan, taking shelter also of Jiva Goswami. So his guru sent people to check up on him, and they asked him, "Where'd you get your name?" And he said, basically, Guru Maharaj gave it to me in a dream, which wasn't true. But that's how he was instructed to say it by Jiva Goswami. So then what happens, he goes, the followers of Hridaya Chaitanya, his initiating guru, go back and tell Hridaya Chaitanya, who's in Bengal, that this is what he said. And Hridaya Chaitanya said, there is no such dream, that's ridiculous. And he goes to Vrindavan, and he challenges his disciple, and he says, look, if Radharani actually gave you that name, and the name was written on his chest, I'm going to wipe it off. And if it remains, I know it's bona fide. So then Shaimananda goes into some sort of trance, enters into the spiritual world with Radharani, and Lalita tells him, and Rupa Mantri actually, tells him that just let someone wipe it off, it'll always stay the name of your name, Shaimananda, on your chest. And so he goes back to external consciousness. The guru, that is Hridaya Chaitanya, wipes it off his chest, and it comes back again several times. And so the guru gets really frustrated at this point. This is not only an insincere disciple, but someone else is ganging up on me too. So then eventually the guru beats him up. He's so tolerant that his guru punches and then that night the guru has a dream, and Radharani's very angry with him, and Krishna's very angry, and he says, why did you do this? And then he goes and apologizes to his disciple. Because, technically you have Shaimananda, who is previously Duki Krishnadas, violating Vaishnava etiquette. But it was only in this instance where Radharani has a higher priority than his guru. That's highly unusual. That's the only time you could do something like that. And I don't think that's going to happen to many of us. That Radharani is going to say, I'm changing your name. It doesn't matter what your guru says. That would be interesting. I mean, it's not going to happen to me. Isn't it? But Jiva Goswami advised him to keep that name, Shaimananda. And that's it. It's a famous story. And he worships the deities Radha Shyamashundar in Vrindavan. Nice story, isn't it? So that's a story of where you can actually violate that etiquette. But otherwise, one should not violate the etiquette. And, just change mantras that the guru gave you, or change procedures. I mean, you could add certain things based on consultation. But you have to be really careful about not thinking that now you know more than the guru did, than your guru did. You have to be very, very careful. So it's good. Let's see if we have another question.
So what was the other story?
What other story?
Hridaya Chaitanya's
And Gauridas Pandit?
Yes.
Oh, that's another interesting story where the guru got angry at his disciple. This is, you got Gauridas Pandit, who is Subal in Krishna Lila. And his disciple was actually first Hridayananda. That was his name. He gave his disciple that name first. Hridayananda means blissful heart. He who has a blissful heart. Ananda and Hriday. And so what happened is that he had these, Gauridas Pandit had these two beautiful deities of Gaur Nitai that were exactly fashioned after the image of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. In fact, some of the stories describe that Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda posed for the sculpting of these deities, the wood deities actually. And so he was very attached to his deities, that is Gauridas Pandit, and had his disciple Hriday Chaitanya. So what he did is one day he told Hriday Chaitanya, take care of the deities while I'm gone. He was going somewhere to preach. So he went somewhere to preach, and as he was out preaching, it came time for Gaur Purnima, the festival of Lord Chaitanya's appearance. So what Hridayananda did is he sent an invitation out to everybody, come for the festival. So the guru comes back, and the guru says, you did this without my permission, so get out of here. I guess in those days, gurus were not as tolerant as they are today. You can imagine if my disciples did something without my permission. If they did. No, when they did, sorry. I used the wrong word. When they do something without my permission, which is probably every day. And so, if I just said, get out of here, I'd be pretty much left alone. Nobody would pick me up from the airport. I mean, just like today, we were late because, there was the Kiev fiasco and anyway, and the ladies decorating themselves, so we were late. So there were several things happening. Haribol, good to see you again. So anyway, so there were several reasons, but basically I didn't get upset because I'm sort of used to it. I got trained up nicely by the devotees and disciples. They trained me up in tolerance. I have good teachers. So it's like that story, Enlightenment by the Natural Path. I can add another one. So anyway, so what happened is Gauridas Pandit, he just told his disciple, get out of here, I don't want to see you anymore. And the disciple, that is Hridayananda, left. He went, but because Hridayananda was taking care of the deities so nicely, the deities ran away with him. So the next morning, Gauridas Pandit goes to do Mangalarti, and there's no deities on the altar. He opens up the curtains and says, all glories to Gaur. All glories to nothing, here. And so then he figures Lord Chaitanya ran away, Lord Nityananda ran away to join his disciple. He's a great pure devotee. This doesn't happen to everybody. I don't think Radha Golokananda would run away to join me. They're probably happy that I'm here. So anyways, so what happened is that that Gauridas Pandit runs to the bank of the Ganges where Hridayananda is there with the deities, and I guess they're all dancing or something in ecstasy, kirtan. And Gauridas Pandit is really angry, he has a stick in his hand. And so Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda get so fearful, frightened, that they jump into the heart of Hridayananda. And then Hridayananda, after that point, is called Hriday Chaitanya, because that means he who has Chaitanya in the heart. So the name was changed. It's an interesting story, isn't it? So you actually find that, in this disciplic succession, the gurus tend to have a temper. That's a funny story. Oh, battery's almost out.
Lights are flickering.
All right, just a few more minutes for the people here online, and then we'll just continue with the people. There's another question online. We're taking the questions online first. Here's another one. Gurudev, after listening to Srimad Bhagavatam, we engaged in devotional service and perfect ourselves by Lord Krishna, Lord Krishna and Lord Gauranga's mercy. We go back home, back to Godhead. But in case of Maharaj Parikshit, he went directly back to Godhead just by listening to Srimad Bhagavatam. Can devotees also do the same just by listening to Srimad Bhagavatam, go back to home, back to Godhead, without any other... several questions. Oh my God, so many questions. Without any other service, please advise. Not generally, there's always exceptions. Parikshit Maharaj was an exception. And also because the pastime of Parikshit Maharaj being born is actually Krishna's pastime anyway. He actually saw Krishna in the womb. So that's an exceptional birth, an exceptional personality. But in most cases, no, we go to where Krishna's pastimes are in the material world. That's the answer to that. Next question is from Krishna Keshava. You remember him? So Krishna Keshava says, please accept my humble obeisances unto your whatever feet. What is the significance? What is the significance of chanting 16 rounds only minimum on a daily basis? That's because if we didn't take a vow to chant 16 rounds, we probably wouldn't chant that many rounds every day. So the important thing is to fix up the principle. Okay, here's the principle listed by Rupa Goswami. Not the details. Rupa Goswami actually says the details of devotional service may change from guru to guru, or from acharya to acharya. Like, we don't change within ISKCON. But the details change. But the principle is that the guru gives the disciple specific medicine according to their psychophysical nature, according to their needs. And Prabhupada has given us the medicine of 16 rounds because if he didn't say 16 rounds minimum, we wouldn't chant that much because we're not in the spontaneous platform. In fact, when Prabhupada first came to America, he tried to get people to chant 64 rounds a day. And then devotees said, can't. Then Prabhupada tried 32 rounds a day. Then the devotees said, that's impossible. And then Prabhupada said 16 rounds minimum for those who take initiation. Now, on the other hand, for those who are not initiated, we just encourage people to find a fixed number of rounds, like 1 or 2 rounds or 3 rounds, and work their way up, rather than artificially telling people they have to chant 16 rounds a day. Because it's just, it's really hard for someone to start off at 16 rounds, especially if they're working in the world. Especially if you're coaching a soccer match, You're trying to, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. No, hit the ball, kick the ball. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Then you got to get one of these clickers, which they're called, I think they're called sheep counters or something like that. And you go Hare Krishna, okay, Krishna Krishna, like that. And so basically, one has to work their way up. It's a simple thing like that, to chanting 16 rounds a day. The way I did it, I actually went from no particular vow. I was already chanting to 16 in one day. That's because I didn't have a job. I was just a regular old whatever. I just moved in the temple and they said, you got to chant 60 rounds. I said, okay. So I went, not exactly from 0, I was chanting rounds every day, but no fixed number of rounds. And then I started chanting 16 the first day I moved to the temple. I haven't stopped since. So there has to be a minimum. The point is there has to be a minimum. One makes a vow, and that vow is based upon one's ability. And an initiation at 16 rounds.
That's the standard, the minimum standard for initiation. So, other questions? Oh, other line. Let's see, because it's going to go offline in a second. And then last question for today. Good day. Purushottam is a very auspicious month. So, can we buy a house? Yes, it's very auspicious to buy a house. It's more auspicious to help the guru on that month. If not, please explain why. Why not? If you have a good price on a house, don't give it up. You know. You know, you do it. You know, you just do it for Krishna. Buy the house for Krishna, isn't it? I mean, if all of a sudden, you know, there's a fantastic price on the house that just came up, and you know other people could be bidding on it, and you say, I can't bid on the house this month because it's Purushottam. You know, you do a lot of other things. You eat on Purushottam. You have an argument with your wife on Purushottam during Purushottam. Isn't it? You talk business, so why can't you buy a house? It's not, Purushottam is an auspicious month. It's not an inauspicious month. I think people have this whole idea that Akadashi is an auspicious, or Purushottam is inauspicious. You can do all sorts of auspicious things. There's another thing people don't do on Purushottam. Usually they don't get married during this month. However, a Krishna conscious marriage is always auspicious, isn't it? So if someone's going to get married and their partner is a devotee, why not do it in that month? Like Kartik. We've done some marriages during Kartik too. And you know, usually in India there's a thing about even Chaturmasha, many people refuse to get married or do things like that. But the interesting thing is, you know, they'll do all sorts of things that have nothing to do with Krishna. Like they won't do auspicious things, but they'll go to Disney World during Purushottam. Isn't it? I mean, it's pretty crazy. You know, you can't buy a house to serve Krishna. You can't get married. You can't do this ceremony, that ceremony. But you can go to Disney World and play with Mickey Mouse. I mean, have you seen any of the families stop going to Disney World during this month? Or going to the movies? Not usually. You know, people can be in Maya during Purushottam, but they can't do things for Krishna.
That was based on, because I had to give a whole class on it, so I did this like major research, and there's the karma kanda,
Yeah.
understanding where they see it as the bad month.
Malmas.
Yeah, the dirty month.
Yeah.
And then there's the Vaishnava understanding that Krishna made it his own month. So it's a very auspicious month for spiritual life.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole story about why it's auspicious. And then the only reason it's inauspicious is if you happen to have a birthday during Purushottam, which means only every like 2.5 to 3 years you get to celebrate your birthday. Can you imagine? It's like leap year. You know, let's say someone was born on February 29th. Oh, you were born on February 29th? That's good. So you only have birthday. That means you're younger.
That's a good thing.
You divide your age by 4, you know, so
She's only 16.
it's only 16. That's pretty good. So, you know, it's an extra, basically, technically speaking, it's just an extra month so that the moon calendar will coincide with the sun calendar. That's really what it is. And, you know, whether it's auspicious or inauspicious, I mean, obviously there's Vedic injunctions, there's auspicious stories in the Puranas, which is not from the Bhagavatam, actually.
But nothing about it.
Nothing in the Bhagavatam about it. But there's so many stories in the Puranas, I mean, and you don't know which one is real, which one is not real. And so many rituals, I mean, like people have all these different stories, like if you yawn, you're supposed to snap your fingers. You ever hear that one?
I've seen them. We used to see devotees going like that.
Snap the fingers, you know. If you yawn, the soul is leaving your body, otherwise. There's another one that Another ritual that many people think is that when you say Gayatri mantra, you have to cover your hand. And the reason, if you don't cover your hand, the demon will take your mantra away from you. So, in other words, a piece of cloth is able to shield you from a demon. I mean, it's like kryptonite for a demon. No, the reason you cover your hand, there actually is a reason. The reason is it's a private thing, that's all. Like you don't put your beads out. But you can do that if it's only devotees in the room. But if it's other people who are not devotees, just like if I was in the airplane, just pull this out like this. It's weird. I mean, what I do to chant japa on the airplane is I put a mask on, so I make believe that I'm scared of COVID. And I can chant, they don't know I'm chanting.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, you do that. Another thing I do is I just put on earbuds, and they think I'm listening to music and chanting along with the music.
That, and I cover my hand up with each other, they can keep me warm.
Like that. So, but anyway, whoops, battery's almost out on this. Wow, the battery's lasting a long time. Oh, we got 12 minutes left. Here's another question from, yeah, you can buy a house on Purushottam. Must. Another ritual they have is on Lakshmi Puja, you don't really give money you don't buy anything or give money to anybody. Because it's considered that if you know about this, right? That if you give money on that day for the rest of the year, the money will flow out of the house. Do you know about that? I guess that's a Bihari thing or something.
In Fiji, you have all kinds of rituals.
Another thing in Fiji, another thing is about if you have a recital of the Lord's pastimes at a temple, you have to get intoxicated afterwards. It's part of the procedure with kava, right?
Oh, that's not the discount others,
Yeah, it's become like a ritual substance. Kava is it's like an intoxicant. It makes people like in a stupor. So they actually recite the pastimes of Lord Ram, and then afterwards the men all sit around like that all night long. And if you have a funeral, nobody will come to the funeral unless you actually give them free kava, right? So people come up with all these rituals. I mean, Prabhupada talked about the cat ritual.
Yeah.
The cat ritual was like, once upon a time, Prabhupada tells a story, that there was a person who was doing a fire sacrifice, and he had a cat, which is no problem, but the cat kept getting too close to the fire, so he was scared the cat's going to catch fire. So he took the cat, tied it up to a tree, so the cat wouldn't get hurt during the fire sacrifice. So he had some disciples. Disciples saw that and thought it was part of the procedure. And then his disciples, after the guru passes away, started to do the same thing. And then their disciples started. So in this whole disciplic succession, a cat was required to do a fire sacrifice. So people do things without thinking about them, isn't it? It's called niyamagraha. So I think there's one other question that we're going to have to disconnect because the battery's going out. Follow up on another question. At what point is the eternal form of the Guru revealed? Why do you want to learn that? Does it mean that we don't closely assist the Guru in spiritual ways, and the disciple and Guru have different rasas? At what point do you find out who your Guru is? One day, oh Guru, you're a gopi. What's your gopi name, Guru Maharaj? The whole thing sounds kind of funny. Oh, what's your real name, Guru Maharaj? Can you imagine asking a spiritual master like that? And so, Krishna, in the spiritual world, the spiritual master helps engage the disciple in devotional service regardless of their ras. That connection is eternal. Exactly how it happens, that you'll have to experience. But I think in this world, it's not necessary to know the Guru's relationship with Krishna. It's not necessary. nor, I mean, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati revealed who he was, Bhaktivinoda Thakur revealed who he was. Prabhupada didn't do it specifically because it would create a whole army of what we call sahajas.
Everybody was so young.
Yeah, but even now, you know, it's just like everybody's still young. We're a preaching movement. We're a preaching movement. And still, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when he went to Vrindavan, he just gave classes on the basic books like Upanishad and other books like that, rather than giving class on the gopis. You know, he's famous for not speaking about the gopis in Vrindavan when he was even at Radhakund. So, anyway, that'll be revealed. Somehow or other, the Guru will help us, but it's not that the Guru has many different rasas. It's not that he's a gopi and he's the mother of Krishna, and at the same time he's a cowherd boy, and at the same time he's a tree, and at the same time he's whatever, fanning Krishna as just a servant. You know, he has a specific rasa. And somehow or other we're associated with our spiritual master in the spiritual world. That'll be revealed, how that is. Prabhupada said we have an ISKCON in the spiritual world. That means we all get to associate with each other. It's not that we all have the same ras, but we're all going to get to associate with each other. Somehow or other, everybody who goes back to Godhead will be eternally a family in the spiritual world. That's nice, isn't it? Because you all look different, thank God. It's not about any of you, it's about me, I'm too refund. I mean, you're all young, but anyway, I definitely don't want to appear in the spiritual world as an old guy. I mean, even the old guys, they still look fresh in the spiritual world. They don't look. I mean, they're older, but it's not, you know, it's not the same thing as there is in this world. So, anyway, that does it for the online stuff, and then we can start taking questions here. Okay, thank you very much. Actually, it was nice for everybody online, and we'll see everybody online tomorrow evening when we'll be back in North Carolina. So that's it. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Not for everyone here. You still got your opportunity.